Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello. Testing, testing. 1 2 1 2. Am I live? Can you guys hear me? For some reason, my thing here doesn't work. That my shortcuts here don't work. But okay, as long as you guys can hear me, doesn't really matter, I guess. All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. So, as you guys can see, my thing here is ticking down, right? Like I'm starting to run out soon, but the summons are coming along. 12k, 5k, it's like 17k, give or take. I've been saving primo gems for like for a while now, people. Like you guys gotta understand. Like I've been doing. I mean, I've been going hard, as I'm trying to say. I didn't pull for any Yoimiya. I haven't pulled for okay. Let's go. Oh wait, no. Oh, thank God, it wasn't a 5-star. I was like, oh wait. I I I was gonna even talk about this. I was like, Tighnari is coming to the standard banner soon, so y'all probably should save your standard banner summons. And I just saw. Oh. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. But anyways, we probably should stop doing that. You know, you guys know that feeling. You go to the standard banner, you see some wishes, and you just click it. Probably should stop doing that. Not a good, not a good thing to do anymore. Let's see how many standard banners. Oh, 6 pages, but I probably have more. However, they just deleted it because I haven't. It's older than 6 months. But I think I have like 50 or 60. Whatever. Standard banner will always be standard banner. You can't really count on it because let's be honest with each other here. I at one point spent like $3,000 trying to snipe D-Look from this banner right here. It's a 1 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 1 in 15 chance that I could have gotten D-Look. I spent $3,000. I didn't get D-Look. I actually don't have this weapon either. I think apart from this, I have everything else on here now, including D-Look. But I still don't have the Primordial. Oh no, and also Lost Prayer to the Sacred Woods. I don't have these 2 weapons. Okay, have everything else. What's my point? My point here is that it's incredibly unlikely. All right, it's incredibly unlikely. You are fighting an uphill battle. You are going against all odds when it comes to sniping a specific unit that you want. And what's the bigger thing that I'm trying to get at here is that if you want Tighnari, all right, and this is me saying it as a very like I'm trying to deliver this information to you guys without sounding like I'm trying to help Hoyoverse sell their products. But you guys know I've made videos talking about Tighnari, and I said, you know, I do feel bad for the lad. I think that he has great potential. He would have been a great character had he been like third or fourth, like the third or fourth Dendro character coming out. I think there would have been a lot more excitement for his banner, as well as people just wanting to pick him up in general. However, because not only is he the first Dendro character, meaning that there's a lot of excitement building up to him, there's also this conflicting, I guess, at this point, reality, which is that he's not going to be a limited character. Tighnari is a non-limited character, which basically means that people are simply gonna skip him because he doesn't feel special. Hello, Jesus Warriors. Do you think Tighnari will have a rerun? Wow, that's a really good question. Holy smokes, I didn't even think about that. Yes, I do think he will have a rerun. And the reason I say that is because that there's No, actually, I changed that. No, I don't think he's gonna have a rerun. I changed my mind because it just wouldn't be fair to the other characters, and even if he did have a rerun, it'll never be as exciting uh ever again, because right now the Hoyoverse is riding on the fact that nobody has a proper Dendro character. So if you want like amazing Dendro synergies, it's probably in your best interest to pick up Tighnari. And I'm not, and even that, I'm not saying he's going to be amazing. I'm just going to be saying that he's the best we got right now, right? I'm sure Kale is going to be good. I'm sure the Dendro MC is going to be somewhat usable. However, if you want an amazing Dendro character from the get-go, I think Tighnari is going to be your best shot, obviously, right? He's going to be your go-to. And also, I feel like he's also going to get benched relatively quickly as the meta develops, because from everything that I see, he seems to be an on-field Dendro unit when a lot of Dendro seems to be operated off-field passively. Right, like Dendro only needs to give that kick, that spark, or that application to the enemies, and then you can get Dendro off. Like the Dendro character doesn't even need to be on the field anymore. Especially for like Bloom, they drop these little Dendro balls or pellets or plants or whatever you want to call it, and then the plants itself can further react with other elements. So a lot of this stuff just feels like it was designed in a way to be a passive element that can contribute regardless of its regardless of how active the Dendro character itself is. So that's why when I look at a character like Tighnari, while yes, he's going to be on the standard banner starting 3.1, the chances of you getting him is still actually surprisingly probably. I'm throwing in all these words because I think it's still going to be on limited banners. He's still going to be more likely for you to pick up on a limited banner. You guys know why? Hear me out. Because on a limited character banner, you don't get the weapons, right? So even though he's going to be on the standard banner, you're probably still going to end up getting him on a limited banner. The reason being is on the standard banner, you're competing for now. Once Tighnari gets put in here, it's going to be a 1 in 16%, 1 in 16 chance. A 1 in 16 chance. Like, what kind of likelihood is that actually of getting him? 1 in 16, people. 1 in 16. Do you guys realize how low that is? So, but if you were to summon on a limited character banner and you lose your 50-50, it's gonna be a 1 in 6, right? Because it's gonna be Kaching, Mona, Chi-Chi, Diluc, Jean, and then Tighnari. So chances are most of you guys will still end up getting him on a limited character banner. That's what I'm saying. So then the question needs to be asked, right? Are you going to be, like, air quote, happy if you're summoning for Kusanali, or you're summoning for Deha, or you're summoning for Nilo, and bam, out comes a Tighnari? Like, that's the question, right? Are you guys going to be happy when you're summoning on the Dendro Archon banner, or a character of your, like, you really, really want, you've been saving a long time for, and bam, out comes Tighnari? That's I think that's going to be quite demoralizing for the majority of people. I think if you end up getting Tighnari, you'll be like, oh, at least it wasn't Chi-Chi. At least it wasn't Keqing, right? Yeah, some people would say that. Oh, at least I didn't get Chi-Chi or Keqing. I got Tighnari instead. But you know, that feeling isn't going to be as genuine as, let's say, you're trying to pull for Tighnari on his banner and you get him, or you pull for Tighnari uh on a standard banner. Like, he's gonna end up spoofing you. Mini Drillix says, "Can I have a shout out? I have been a fan since 7K." Hey, Mini Drillix. It's very rare to see people from like 7K still sticking around, because for the most part, I think I was a very different person back in 7K. I was doing content that was more, I guess, meta driven. Not like I was a very meta person myself. It was just I was trying to share things that were just more related to meta, the best this, best that, character guides, right? I think back in the day, I used to be very excited for everything that was coming out, until I realized that I was burning through my available content so much that whenever they came around, I stopped being excited for them. It's like, oh, I know all this stuff. What, like I was never excited, and when I was excited, it was because of like leaks and stuff, right? Back in the day, the leaks of yo guys, do you guys remember Baiju leaks? Do you guys remember when Baiju first got leaked, being like playable in 1.6? I met someone today and they were talking to me about that. So I met a good friend of Beluga-chan's, and he turned out to be a huge Genshin fan. And he was talking to me, and he was like, "Yo, you guys, you remember when back in 1.0 we were already getting leaks about Baiju, and people were so hyped and excited." And I remember that. I remember like I was digging through the Reddit, I was digging through Twitter, I was digging through everything I can to find out more about Baiju and stuff. And I got myself so hyped and I got so excited, and I like had all these theories and ideas. And I just felt very disappointed as patches and patches went on, and none of it came to fruition, and I just felt defeated eventually. And I think came 1.5 or 1.6 during the dry patches, I swore to myself to never look at Genshin leaks again, because I just want to experience the game like at face value starting going forward, and not ruin it for myself. I think leaks are great when you're a free-to-play player trying to prepare for future patches, but if you're like myself, you're gonna spend money anyways to get the characters, to fill up the downtime, the boring periods. Why ruin it for myself when I can use money to just kind of power through it? Right? That's kind of like screwing myself twice, if you know what I mean. Like, why would I screw myself twice? So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna drop leaks altogether. I'm just gonna go for the game at face value, especially with how Genshin paces themselves. I find that it's been more enjoyable overall since I stopped looking at leaks. However, I'm not saying that I never will. If the game ever becomes so poorly paced, I think leaks are a great way to keep myself excited and engaged. However, I haven't had a need for that for quite a while, especially since during the driest time of Genshin, Tower Fantasy did end up coming out, and I did end up playing Tower Fantasy a bunch, that I don't really need to, fixate myself so much on Genshin. I've always said that it's not very smart to play Genshin like it's your main game. It's not designed to be your main game, and I don't think it ever will. So I think for people who do take and see Genshin as their main game, looking at leaks has to be a staple, because if you don't look at leaks, Genshin can never really truly fulfill that main game status. Okay? So when it comes to Tighnari, I do think that synergy-wise, he's an on-field character, right? He's an on-field character, at least from what it seems like. A lot of his stuff is functioning online. Like, I mean, not online, on-field. So he's going to be pairing well with off-field characters. And I can't help but notice that there is a certain somebody, a certain mommy, that is an amazing off-field character that also is of the element of that will synergize well with Dendro. right? A very peculiar and specific mommy. I wonder who it is. I wonder who it is. Right? A certain mommy that that seems to just keep getting better and better. It's like this woman ages backwards. I I said Yelan when she first came out was amazing, but and I think she is amazing. And she's currently already the best characters in terms of constellation value, but to keep climbing up higher and higher, I do think Yelan is gonna pair somewhat well with what's his name, Tighnari. Now the question is, Tighnari uses a lot of charge shots, right? So and if you see Yelan, she doesn't actually pair with she doesn't really pair with charge shot units very well. So that's my thing. Like if Tighnari doesn't use normal attacks, like maybe Yelan won't pair with him very well. Like this is the thing. Like I haven't seen the leaks, so all I can go off of is basically what's in my head. And right now, to me, Bloom seems to be more useful than Bloom seems to be more useful than Catalyze. And I could be wrong with this, but Catalyze seems to be more. But then again, Catalyze seems to be more of a simplified reaction for damage scaling, as opposed to Bloom. Bloom seems like it has more universal usage, in my opinion. Like from what I've seen. Of course, Hoyoverse wants us to experience it for ourselves once the patch comes out, but I just feel like Bloom overall feels like it's going to be more because what Bloom does is like it spawns that plant, right? It spawns that plant, and then it's up to you how you want to utilize that plant. It opens up the room here for many possibilities. Whereas Catalyze, you just go in, you use Electro, and bam, you do some sort of thing. Whereas in fact, Bloom has room to fit Catalyze into it. Catalyze doesn't seem to have room to fit Bloom into it. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense? Right? If you use Bloom, you will get that seed, then you can use Electro onto that seed and you still get Catalyze, which you see it's flexible. But if you use Catalyze, it just seems like it instantly activates it with the three Dendro like swirl thingies to attack the enemy. And then it's done. So I huh. Togekill says the moment they added him to the standard banner, I realized he's not going to be a meta changer. Well, here's my question: is any Dendro character going to be the meta changer? And also, when we talk about meta in terms of Genshin Impact, what is meta? Meta is the Spiral Abyss, right? But the Spiral Abyss always changes according to what character is currently being sold on the banners. Right, if you have a pyro character that's doing a lot of charge attacks, they're gonna buff charge attacks and pyro damage or enemy resistances. If you have like a cryo archer, they're gonna buff a cryo archer. And that's like the only resemblance of meta we have gotten. I guess if you want to talk about the most damage, then or like the most versatile teams, Ride National, just general like traditional national teams and stuff like that, they've always been very good. When it comes to smaller enemies, Venti suddenly creeps back into the meta. It really depends on what they throw into the abyss, because there's no other way we can actually gauge any of this stuff. Which then leads me to wonder, right, like are they going to buff Dendro in general for the next couple of patches, right? Are they going to make it so in Abyss with a Dendro character, you're just going to have a much easier time? So that means Cole is going to be good, Dendro MC is going to be good, or are they specifically going to try and buff Tighnari? See, these are questions that These are questions that once we see the answers to these questions, we're going to be able to see how hard Hoyoverse wants to push Dendro. Does Hoyoverse want to heavily incentivize the player base to play Dendro, or did they simply add an extra element into the game for us to enjoy? And whatever we do with it is up to our choosing. Sure, we're going to get a bit of Dendro buffs and benefits in playing the element, but it's not going to be anything game shattering, and Hoyoverse never wants Dendro to be a game shattering element. Who knows? I'm definitely leaning towards the side that Hoyoverse wants Dendro to be like good, or at least they want Dendro to feel powerful and game changing. They're gonna add things to the game that will contribute to this like result. That's what I think Hoyoverse wants, because the amount of money and time they've probably spent designing this and making sure that the reactions are very interactive and smart and engaging. It's just gonna be it's gonna be very stupid of them. Like, they're gonna feel very stupid if nobody plays it, like if nobody cares about it. So it has, like, in that sense, it has to be impactful enough for people to want to pick it up. And I'm not just talking about in the sense of, oh, look, Dendro, let's play it for a patch or two and then drop it completely and forget it even exists. I'm talking like permanently in the meta. Permanently. What do you guys think? Honestly, like, I'm actually... Oh my god, did I miss that? I'm actually really curious as to what you guys think when it comes to this. Is Kokomi worth rolling? I always think Kokomi is worth rolling. I think Kokomi in general is just... Oh my god. I think Kokomi in general is just a character that has insane value. Listen, when you are in Sumeru, I do think Bloom is going to be very flexible of a reaction for you to play. And Kokomi is like currently what is she? I think she's still the best and most consistent off-field hydro applicator. Is she? Passively. I think like some people might make a case for Yelan Xingqiu to both be just as good as Kokomi while also dealing damage, right? I can see that as well. But Kokomi heals, right? Kokomi heals. So in most team building scenarios, it's going to be a little more difficult to replace Kokomi than it is to replace Yelan and Xingqiu. In fact, Yelan and Xingqiu pretty much replaces each other if push comes to shove. No! No! The butterflies! The crystalline butterflies. Hydro AoE application. There it is, AX. Thank you for the correction. Kokomi is currently one of, if not the best, Hydro AoE applicators, which I think is going to be quite valuable when it comes to Bloom. I don't know if there's a limitation to how many of those those green dendro flower petals or the buds that you can spawn. But what if you can spawn like 3 or 4 of them in one instance, and what if they react independently? Who knows? That would be pretty busted, right? Imagine if all 4 of those dendro buds can react independently. I don't know. Or is there only going to be one instance of the dendro flower bud? Tighnari says healing is overrated. For meta players, healing is overrated. Like, if you know what you're doing, like, look up the team I'm running right now on screen. Team has no healers, right? But most people are not going to be comfortable running these kind of teams. A lot of the newer players, which there will be a ton of, don't like, if people think Sumeru is like for designed for veterans, no. Sumeru is designed for new players, newcomers, just as much as it is for veterans. He adopts as well. Do you think Yamiko's targeting problems were due to the upcoming Dendro? I can't really speak on that because I think Yamiko, when she was released, she's not a complete character in the sense that she was not designed for the current meta, like with the current um current playstyle in mind. I think Yamiko was truly designed for the Dendro meta. What am I? Did I mess up? Just like Shenhe, she's a future investment. Yes, correct. I think Yamiko was a future investment. Like if you picked up Yamiko, you have to suffer through the bad. Because there were some glaring issues with her auto attacking being slow, with her just her overall kit just never really seemed to flow together very well. However, if you take into account Dendro, the new artifact set, I do think Yamiko can make good use of the new artifact set. Maybe a 2-piece and 2-piece, or just straight up using the 4-piece. I do think if you did invest into Yamiko, you're finally about to reap the rewards here very soon. Glad I rolled for Yai then. Yeah, I think Hoyoverse, for the most part, they don't let any of their characters, especially the limited start characters, they don't feel very bad to play if you just either one, invest greatly into them, or two, wait long enough for them to become meta. That's it. You just gotta wait. If your character isn't that good right now, just give it some time, especially if you got a newer character. I'm sorry for those people who pulled, like, Zhao's and stuff. Unfortunately, I feel like at this point, everything that they can do for Zhao, they've already done for Zhao. I don't think anything more can be done for Zhao in the sense of improving him, making him better. I think at this point, with the new artifacts and stuff, right? That's it. I think the only way you'll ever see Zhao kind of getting improvements in the constellations, is just overall like quality of life improvements, is if the game like lives long enough to have a 10-year or 15-year anniversary, kind of like League of Legends. They likely will start going back and revamping the old characters simply because the game has been out for so long and there's never a sign of decline ever, and they're just gonna keep servicing this game for all eternity. Then you may see them go back and retune older characters because they have enough in their side budgets to open up a team specifically dedicated to revamping characters, right? Because in the case of League of Legends, Riot Games, they have a division that solely exists to figure out how they can revamp older characters, their design, their kits, and whatnot. It's going to be the same for Genshin. If you guys support the game long enough, I think you will definitely see the day where Zhao gets revamped. But it's not going to be anytime soon. All right, no freaking way it's going to be anytime soon. Udyr rework coming this week. Yeah, look how many years it took them to revamp Udyr. If you guys play League of Legends, just look at that. It's absolute insane. And now you guys may be like, oh, but League of Legends have so many new characters, but they also release new characters quite often. And those characters, they also have balance patches, right? There's a lot more that they need to worry about. My point is, if you are pulling for newer characters, there's a very good chance that these newer characters are going to stay relevant in the meta. If not now, then sometime in the future. But if you're pulling for old characters, if you're pulling for Zhao, if you're pulling for characters like Eula, Hu Tao, these kind of characters back from the 1.0 era, what they are now is what you're most likely going to get. You're not gonna suddenly one day see Hu Tao get a huge additional glow up. You're not gonna see characters like Diluc suddenly become incredibly OP, even with his even with this skin, you're not gonna see him become extremely OP. It's just not going to happen. Real Retro Ruby says, would the new EM set on Kazuha be stronger than Verdescent Resistance Shred? One moment. Let me open up the new set, because here it is. Let me plaster this here. Damn it, none of my shortcuts work. Let's do it like this. We can do it like this. Man, this is so pixelated. I can barely read it. It's this one, right? Gilded Dreams. Yep. Within 8 seconds of triggering an elemental reaction, the character equipping this will obtain buffs based on the elemental type of the other party members. So, attack is increased by 14% for each party member whose element type is the same as the equipping character. And elemental mastery is increased by 50 for every party member with a different elemental type. Each of the aforementioned buffs will count up to 3 characters. This effect can be triggered once every 8 seconds. The character who equipped this can still trigger its effects when not on the field. Like, while I do think, yeah, Kazuha does sound like he can benefit from this, but you do have to realize with the last sentence of this artifact set, the character who equipped this can still trigger its effect when not on the field. Excuse me? I wonder which character right now scales off of, well, not fully, but like can scale off of elemental mastery while also is an amazing off-field presence, who can benefit from both attack as well as elemental mastery, chat. Golly! Who might it be? There's several. All right, there's several. But overall, I do think that like it's pretty straightforward with this set. Yai is really going to love this set. I'm not going to say that she's going to break the meta all of a sudden with this set, but she's going to feel much more comfortable with this set. Just the amount of additional stats she's getting without even like ever having to worry. Like, let's be honest, you always have Yai's totem on the field, correct? There's no scenario ever where you don't have her totem, because you literally get them for free. Just drop them down. She's going to get quite the buff. If you run her in, if you run her, think about it like this. If you run Yamiko in traditional, like, Raiden, Yamiko, Bennett, like a Raiden hypercarry team, this can still help quite a lot. If you run her in a new Dendro team, this can help her still quite a lot, because all of the Dendro stuff, catalyze, it scales off of elemental mastery. So with more elemental mastery, I'd imagine with catalyze it's just gonna do more damage. I think it's very straightforward like that. There's nothing complex. We just have to understand exactly how it scales. It doesn't fix her clunky kit, of course not. It doesn't. But what it ends up fixing is now a lot of the things that she does, like how her kit functions, it just makes more sense, right? Having her use her elemental skill, use her burst skill, right? For example, using her elemental skill, then her elemental skill will trigger the 4th-piece set effect. She gets all these buffs. She gets she probably gets like 100 EM and 14% attack, on top of that 80 mastery, like another 80, like flat. She's gaining 80 elemental mastery just from the 2-set bonus. Then on top of that, she gains another 100 elemental mastery bonus from her teammates, and then she gains another 14% attack, and then she uses her burst. Like, if you guys think Yamiko's burst hurts now, just wait until this thing comes out, right? Lots of content creators are saying that Fisher will be broken in Sumeru. Yeah, and you know, like, no cap. Today I was talking. Remember, I was saying I met Beluga Chan's friend, and I was saying like Fischl just sounds insanely broken now in as we approach Sumeru, because Sumeru seems, I mean, the Dendro reaction seems to value reactions that can be done passively. You don't want an on-field character to be proccing these stuff. You want an on-field character to do what on-field characters do, which is drop a buttload of damage, and you want an off-field character to deal with the reactions. So Fischl, Kokomi, Beidou, what other off-field characters? Like Yelan, Xingqiu, I think to a certain degree, Xiangling is still going to be very, very good. Off-field characters are getting even better. Yeah, Kuki Shinobu. Yeah, like anyone who can provide off-field elemental applications is just going to be that much more valuable when Sumeru rolls or when Dendro rolls around, because that's what the Dendro is designed to be. Think of how much you're wasting if you are not utilizing off-field application. If you're using on-field application, then all this preparation and setup with the bloom, with the bud, and with the you know, the passive effects of catalyze, it's just going to waste. You're wasting it all. Like, sure, it's cool, but then you're just wasting the damage. Then you're gonna feel like the Dendro meta may not be as amazing, but to be quite frank, you're not playing it right. It's like, you know, it's like you're pushing your bike. It's like you have a bicycle, but you're on the road, you're running next to your bicycle, and you're pushing it as you go. You're like, man, this really sucks. Like, why do people keep saying the bicycles are efficient? While meanwhile, you're like they're running next to your bicycle, trying to push it down a hill, but you're not riding the bicycle. And who am I to say, well, that's, you know, you're doing it wrong. If you're having fun, if you're enjoying yourself, sure, push your bike, don't ride it. But why not just hop on the bike and ride the bicycle down the hill? You know, and because you're just going to be incredibly confused. You're like, oh, what's the hype? I don't see the hype with the bicycles, with wheels. Like, what's so amazing about wheels? You know, it's kind of crappy. It's like you're put the same analogy. If you have a car and you're pushing the car up a hill, and then you're saying like, man, I hate it. Like, I can walk up this hill faster without this car. You know, if you do things wrong, in a good scenario, you'll probably just feel like, oh, well, this doesn't feel that amazing. In a bad scenario, you'll oftentimes feel like, this sucks. I'm better off without it. So I just hope people don't end up misinterpreting Dendro and its reactions when it comes to application as well as playstyle. Because while I think HoYoverse wants us to experience the game for how we truly want to experience it, there definitely is a right and wrong way to do this. Tighnari says Dendro won't be meta. It's just a more indirect way to do damage. Likely less than meta teams. I do think Dendro is designed to kind of fill in the gap, right? Dendro is designed to fill in the gap of currently what's missing. And I don't think Dendro was ever supposed to be designed with meta changing or meta shattering or meta redefining. Although, you know, content creators, myself included, likely will make videos that's kind of clickbaity in this sense. I'm sorry, you know, I'm letting you guys know right now. You guys watch my live streams. I'm letting you guys know right now. It's going to happen. This happens like once a year. Probably this is going to happen once every like 5 to 10 years, because we're likely not going to get another element anytime soon. So you just let content creators do what content creators do, because at the end of the day, it's not going to happen likely ever again. And to be honest, how many of us are still going to be around 5-10 years from now when they drop like additional elements that are like not a part of the 7 major elements, right? What if eventually they drop an element called surprise? Sorry, I had to do that one. But like if in the future they drop like a Dane's Leaf. Dane's Leaf doesn't seem like he uses the 7 elements. What if they drop the element of Conria 5 years from now? How many content creators that are currently active are still going to be here? Is MTash still going to be here? Is Tectone still going to be here? Are any of these current is Twanto going to be here? Is Sekapoko still going to be here? I don't know. 5-10 years from now, they might still be here, but there's a good chance there's going to be new content creators who are in the space, who are much more excited, who will talk about it then, right? They probably release Genshin 2 by then. There's a fair shot that they might just release a different like a sequel to Genshin Impact. And then all the old guards are gonna come back and milk it again for round 2. Would Dendro units be negative to comps that also utilize melt, because Dendro could cause burn procs instead of melt? Well, here's the thing, right? With Dendro characters, they oftentimes are running elemental mastery. And if they proc burning, can burning then subsequently proc melt? It's incredibly, I'm very curious as to this, because now we have multi-layered reactional comps, right? So the scenario is this: the enemies. Okay, look, chat. All right, follow this first. The enemies are standing here. First and foremost, we need to drop Cryo. So Ganyu ult goes down. All right. You start with Ganyu ult, and remember, Cryo does not react with Dendro. Right. So you drop Dendro. So now Dendro. Now the question is, can Dendro and Cryo exist on the enemies at the same time? Can they both exist together, like Vape Load? You guys know Vape Load, the Electro, and what was it? Was it Electro? Electro and Hydro can exist on the enemies at the same time. They can both get applied. So can Cryo and Dendro apply together? So you start with Ganyu's burst, and then you apply Dendro, and then you proc it with Pyro, so you get burning and you get melt at the same time. Would that work? That's just my question. Like, would that work? But for that to work, they need to simultaneously exist on the enemies at the same time. Ezura-chan is saying, yes, Cryo and Dendro exist together, based. If it does exist together, then this comp would work. But if it doesn't, then this comp just falls apart, because it's just too messy. Then you, like, sometimes you get reverse melt, sometimes you get proper melt, and then like things just like go all over the place. Right? Speculations. I don't want to get too deep into speculation, because theory crafters really don't like it when people who don't have credibility start talking about theory crafting, and their community doesn't take kind to people who just shared their thoughts without like presenting research papers. So I don't want to go too deep into this, but this is just something that I think about on the side. Be like, okay, that could be interesting, but is that the most optimal way to play it, right? Like, what are some other, for example, is how would physical DPS work with within the Dendro meta? For example, someone like Eula. How would that work? I don't think Eula will have anything to do with this, right? Eula seems to be a character that's completely like non-affected by the Dendro meta. So overall, I do think I want to I want to explore Dendro as much as I can. I might run into some scenarios where like the teams are not as meta, not as good, but incredibly fun. Elaine says Pyro Cryo had 2 years. Time to retire those old DPS. I mean, I wouldn't say retire. It's just time to share the spotlight. It's time for them to share the meta with other options. I mean, Electro with Hydro, Electro Charge, which Taser teams, along with Freeze teams, have all kind of taken the spotlight in patch 2.0 and beyond. So I do think that Hoyoverse has been shifting the meta here and there, playing around with it. And also Vape Load also exists in some niche scenarios. So overall, I do think, well, I mean, Vape Load also still do utilizes Pyro and stuff, but it's just bringing more reactions into the mix of the traditional melt and vaporize has definitely helped the community enjoy the game in many more ways than just one, and it's very healthy for the game. I mean, it was designed to be like this, right? It's just it took us a while to finally get around to it, because I think people are very resistant to change. There's going to be people who will continue running their Raiden national teams. There are going to be people who continue running their Hu Tao vape teams, or Yoimiya vape load, or just your general like Melt Ganyu teams and whatnot. People just want to stick to comfort, and they're going to be incredibly resistant to the new Dendro like meta in the beginning, but they will eventually open up. Out of curiosity, people will eventually give them a try, especially if they get spoofed by Tighnari. Like, well, I have him now, might as well try him. And then they start realizing, oh, okay, this is actually pretty fun. But in the beginning, I think there's going to be a lot of skepticism, and people just, I think the content creators will want it to be amazing, because then they can milk more content out of it. But for the majority for the players, they're going to be like, why do I want to go so hard into this meta? They might pull for the Dendro Archon and use her as a utility unit, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to play a Dendro team, right? Not necessarily. You could not. There are, like, for example, Zhongli. Zhongli is what? The Geo Archon. They see, like, do I play him in Geo teams? Yes, I could, but he's also in a lot of other teams. Right? What is this team that I have on screen right now? Is this a Geo team? No. I'm using Zhongli's strength and utility to facilitate other team options, which I think that's largely what Archons are designed to be like, right? When you play Raiden in her best team, the national team, well, arguably her best team, the Raiden national team, are you playing just based off of her elemental being like her electro element, or are you playing based off of her utility and her kit? This is what I'm saying. Playing a character doesn't always mean that you have to play around their element. Yes, their element can contribute every now and then here and there, but it also doesn't mean that that's everything that they offer, especially for Archons, right? For some characters, maybe the element is everything, like Xiangling, right? Xiangling, it's because she's Pyro. It's because she's Pyro, and she applies so much Pyro. It's the element. But for the vast majority of characters, you have things about their kit that is more than just their element. So that's what I'm looking forward to when it comes to the Dendro Archon. I do think that it's going to be quite entertaining. to experiment with team comps that are non-dendro when she does eventually come out, because but then again, like, it just right now, I just feel like every time I mention Dendro, it's such a waste if you have a Dendro character on your team, but you're not running Bloom or Catalyze. So maybe it's gonna lean towards it slightly. But I think Tighnari was onto it. Is that Dendro is not going to change anything. It's going to exist within the frameworks of a larger meta, and it's just going to be a subset of gameplay options that we can experiment with and enjoy. But it's not going to make or break the game. But it's gonna add a new flavor for sure. Zendal says, by the way, what's your Yelan's build? I remember I have her running the the 4-piece emblem set. Along with Aqua Simulacra. Yeah, it's still under leveled. I need to go farm this. I need to go farm this, but this is such a pain in the ass to farm, and she's doing enough damage now that I'm just like, whatever. She'll be fine. She's like 45.5, 226, and I'm just like, 141. 140%. Good enough, good enough. I can probably push her close to like 240 crit damage, which is absolute insanity. Like, honestly, that's you better level up that weapon. I know. But the thing is, I'm dealing enough damage at this point that it doesn't matter for me anymore. I'm like 36 starring the abyss. It's like, why why push anymore? I want to save the ores for maybe in the future I get the Dendro Archon's weapon and whatnot. So yeah, to me, like, getting more power, getting more damage, like, I honestly don't need any more damage. It's way too much, man. Like, my Yoimiya, Yelan, like, this team, it hits for like it hits for like almost 100k per auto attack, combining Yoimiya along with Yelan. It's absolute insanity. Can you guys imagine what, like, 100k per auto attack? That's too much, man. That's like, this game was never designed to need that much damage, and that's with Yelan not even like fully leveled up. Her talent isn't even like crowned, and her weapon isn't even leveled up. If Yelan's weapon were like, if Yelan was fully kitted out, like, I'd be breaking 100k per auto attack with Yoimiya. That's just like it's why. What did these Hilichurls ever do to us that we need to go this far to annihilating them? Remember, people, the Hilichurls are not bad. Why are you guys trying so hard to murder them? Same with the Fatui. Look, these Fatuis are just like, they're just chilling. You guys remember the Lantern Rite Festival when the Fatui agents were meeting up for a date or something? Like, they're just human. They're just human. Just like you and I, right? Right? Say something, bitch. Hey. Well, anyways. Honestly, nowadays I've been practicing Zen in the game of Genshin. I don't kill my enemies anymore. I don't. I do think it's wrong. I think we're the bad guys. No, I honestly do. This is like not a joke. I honestly feel like we're the bad guys. And it's actually been messing with me a little bit. It's honestly been messing with me a little bit. Can you imagine if Hoyoverse in the end reveals that we've been playing as the villain the whole time? That would actually be quite the reveal. Yeah, like the Traveler was the villain all along. We were the ones who were like stopping the peace. We were the ones like fighting against. We're part of the oppressors, right? Because the 7 major regions were like working under Celestia. I think long ago the story was like they along with the Archons fought against the Conrians, and we defeated them, we oppressed them, and then we enslaved them, kind of basically. And like they were cursed, right? They were cursed by the gods to roam the lands and eventually lose their sanity bit by bit. Like how can we be on board with that? How can we be on board with that? Come on, people. Come on. Like, have some conscience. Have some empathy here. The Conrians got screwed. And for what? Because they didn't want to bend to the will of the gods? That's bullshit. Alright? That's complete bullshit. And Conrians didn't even have visions. Like, I guess that Kaya is different because Kaya has a cryovision. But from what I know, that back in the day, they didn't have visions. They were just their own group of people. They were living their own lives. They were very prosperous and successful, but they didn't want to bend to the will of the gods. So they were punished for it. And I will not partake in delivering that punishment. When the day comes that the story reveals we were the villains all along, I would raise my hand and said, nah, not me, bitch. Count me out of your indiscriminate killings. All right, I didn't fall for that shit. I started sharing food with the Hilichurls. I protected them. I gave them a place to stay. I offered my Serena teapot to these Hilichurls. I was not part of the problem. All right, I helped them. I was with them. Nah, screw you, gods. I'm gonna strike you guys down. You guys are the ones who are wrong here. Hey, listen. This is probably gonna be like my biggest mic drop, and this is not gonna be fulfilled for 5-6 years to come. But mark my words, people. The day is gonna come. They're gonna reveal it, and everybody's gonna be like, "Oh no! Oh, the Hilichurls! No, the Fatui! Oh no, the pain, the misery!" I'm just gonna be sitting here being like, well, I was doing philanthropy work this whole time. I'm just saying. So yeah, people. I urge you all to convert as early as you can, so that when the day for retribution comes, you're gonna be standing on the right side. You're gonna be standing on my side. I mean, they already made us feel bad. I went back to killing them in the chasm. Okay. Aside from needing to kill them to progress through the main story, because I have to progress to the main story to eventually get the reveal that we're the bad guys, I need to kill some Hilichurls. I'm not saying I'm not killing all Hilichurls, because then, let's be honest, then I can't play the goddamn game anymore. I can't. I'll forever be stuck in the story. So, apart from doing the bare minimum, I will be no longer hunting down Hilichurls. Yes, I'm playing a non-killing, non-massacre version of Genshin Impact. I will not beat to the drums set by Hoyoverse, just so they can eventually reveal that we were doing terrible things. Dante says, "Hello, Mr. Walrus." Hello, Dante. We're just talking about Sumeru and Dendro overall. It's kind of getting hot in here. I'm going to open the AC because I'm burning up in here. But then you remember that Hilichurls are necessary for character ascension. Say what? Say what? Amp Girl says 3.0 character banner can easy to skip for Dendro Archon goal. Yes, absolutely. And let me tell you something. There's gonna be a good chunk of you guys, roughly 1 in 6 people are going, well, 50-50. So you have to 0.5 and then 1. There's gonna be like what 15% of the community is going to end up getting Tighnari while summoning for the Dendro Archon. I'm just saying, there's gonna be a good chunk of you guys ending up with Tighnari. There's look around you. For every person that's sitting around you, 1 in 7 or like 1 in 8 are gonna end up with a Tighnari, or maybe more like 1 in 10, like 10% of you guys. Every like in chat right now, there's gonna be 19 people who ends up getting you're gonna end up getting Tighnari while summoning for the Dendro Archon. I don't make up the rules. I'm just kind of sharing you guys the statistics. There's 19 people in chat right now who's gonna end up with the Tighnari while summoning for the Dendro Archon. Tighnari is gonna get skipped. Let's be honest. All right, like let's not inhale too much copium here and being like, what, Tighnari is gonna have the best possible banner ever. No, Tighnari is gonna have a quite the yikes banner. But I think Hoyoverse is okay with that. Look how many reruns they did for patch 3.0. They're doing Zhongli rerun. They're doing Kokomi rerun. And what was the last one? Zhongli, Kokomi. Was it Ganyu? Yeah, Ganyu. Yeah. They're doing 3 reruns. The version is cut short by a week. Come on, people. Let's be honest here. The cutting the thing short by a week also helps with preventing additional bleeding from sales losses due to Tighnari not being a limited character. On top of that, they accelerate the pace to go into 3.1, so now Tighnari is in the limited banner, and then they can release newer characters. They kind of skip over the unnecessary Dendro hype and people getting bored and overstimulated by the new content. So moving over to the new patches, it's going to be crucial in kind of refreshing people's excitement, making sure that people stay excited. So 1 month at a time, bam, you get the new patch. Bam, you get the new patch with the new characters. That's like standard banner characters. And also this serves a purpose in getting urgency from you guys. There's a good chance that the Dendro Archon is going to be in one of these patches. Like if she's not in 3.1, she's likely going to be in 3.2, and what's going to end up happening is both of these patches are only 1 month. So what ends up happening is you have less time to play the patch, to save up primos, to summon for Dendro Archon. So you're going to end up in a situation where, well, do you want the Dendro Archon? Yes. Well, then, you know, you better either A, save up and not pull any of the characters leading up to her, or B, pull out your wallet and swipe, because you're not gonna have enough time. They are 5 weeks, not 1 month. Are they 5 weeks? I think they are. Yeah. It's 1 week short. Usually it's 6 weeks, but now it's 5. 5 weeks, 4 weeks. 1 week short is still going to put quite a bit of pressure, because believe it or not, people, today I was asking the friend of Beluga-chan, like, oh, you know, what do you like about Genshin? He's like, oh, I'm very busy for the most part. He can only play Genshin every now and then, and if he wants to crush out content, he can't really do it in one sitting. He has to kind of break up his time in playing the game. And he says that what he loves about Genshin is that he doesn't need to play the game for that long. And he's a working adult. He swiped his card for Hu Tao. This man's a Hu Tao, you know, believer and lover, and I respect it. But after interviewing him for like 30 minutes, I started to realize, like, holy crap, there's really a huge amount of love for this game, because precisely that it's casual friendly. You're not incentivized to play this game for an extended period of time. And I do think that when it comes to true free-to-plays, Hoyoverse probably doesn't want people to stay truly free-to-play. Ideally, you buy the Welkin Moon, then you're basically the perfect candidate for Hoyoverse. So basically, what I'm trying to say is today I was once again confirmed with the reality that the vast majority of Genshin players truly does enjoy a more laid back, chilled, slower gameplay and content release, as opposed to people who are very vocal online saying, "Oh, we want more content. We want more permanent content. We want to grind the game more. I want to play Genshin 8 hours a day." That is not a shared consensus among the vast majority of players. In fact, I do think it's probably closer to 15% of the community wanting more permanent content and extended content, and the rest are okay with, like, there's a group of people who are indifferent, and then there's the people who are opposed to it. There are people who's like, "Oh, okay, I could get more, I wouldn't mind, but I really, I wouldn't stop playing if I don't get it." And then there's a group of people who's like, "Oh, I don't want it. I don't want that. That's terrible." Because today when I talked to him, he's like, would you be okay if Genshin became a game where you could grind 6 to 8 hours a day and you can progress through the game that way? And he just like silently shook his head. He's like, no, no. I wouldn't want that. No. No. Yeah. So once again, I've been saying this for a long time, and I've interviewed quite a number of people, both small spenders, whales, free to plays, and yes, there are some who's like, "Oh yeah, I would definitely love more things to do. I would definitely love to play this game more." But like the vast majority, I think, out of the 30, 40 people I've asked, like I can only remember 3 or 4 people who clearly said, "Yeah, I want more content." Everybody else was just like, "Nah, I'm good with what they have right now. In fact, if they get a little even slower than this, I'm okay with it. I play very casually, and I don't really care for more hardcore content or more permanent content or more grindy content. Just not my cup of tea." And they say they only play Genshin because they can play the game 10 minutes a day. Because let's be honest, gaming, while it's becoming more mainstream, it's still quite a niche hobby, I want to say. Yeah, a lot of people do play games, but for the vast majority of them, they don't play games in the sense that us gamers plays games. I could play games for 4 to 5 hours a day, but to those people, that's way too much. Way too much. They're like, they want to play games for 30 minutes to an hour every day. It's like working out for them. It's like going to the gym to work out. You don't want to work out for 4 or 5 hours a day. But there are some people who do that. There are people who work out for 8 hours a day, right? And they would probably be like, "Damn, I wish I had more energy to work out even more." But for you and I was like, "Oh no, bro, like that's too much." But there are people who sees gaming like how you and I see working out, in small dosages to kind of distract themselves from whatever is going on in their life. That's good. That's healthy. That's like a hobby. But when you indulge in it like for 4 or 5 hours every single day, that's too much to them. That's excessive. So that's basically what I'm saying. And I can fill in my time elsewhere, is what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be Genshin. I do think the Genshin experience has been cultivated and the game has been designed to be like a 30-minute to an hour game every day. I think hours is stretching, like 30 minutes a day, it's fine. Tighnari says, "You play more than 4 to 5 hours considering your Tower of Fantasy account, Walrus." Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that you can fill in the downtime elsewhere. And I've realized this ever since the first drought back in 1.456, that holy shit, like this game, if you rely solely on Genshin Impact to fill your downtime and you're a gamer, you're gonna have a really bad time. Like a really bad time. You're gonna come to resent this game. You're gonna come to resent even maybe yourself and Hoyoverse and all the content creators, or like, and all this, like all the people who are enjoying the game. You're gonna resent all of them. You're gonna be like screw you guys. I'm having such a miserable time and I'm like addicted. I dropped money in this game and I can't do anything. That's a terrible place to be, right? But at the same time, you have to ask yourself, right? Like, is it all these other people's fault, or is it my fault for expecting something of a game or of a product, of a service that was never meant or designed to be experienced in the way that I want to experience it? Is my experience of the game and the way I want to experience the game, is that indicative of the product that it was designed to be? And if you're a logical and reasonable person, you will quickly arrive at the conclusion that Genshin Impact was not designed to be a hardcore game. It's not incredibly difficult per se. The end game is not overly complicated. There are certain difficulty spikes in the game, but that's nothing that most people cannot overcome with dedication and over time, right? It's just looking at the game of Genshin, and in all avenues, you quickly start to realize that this game was this was designed from the start, from step one, to be a casual friendly game that's supposed to capture the market for a very broad spectrum of players. It was never designed for you to sit here and grind. It was never designed for true gamers. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to sit here and lecture you guys on how to play video games, because quite frankly, who the hell am I to tell you guys how to do that? But just understand that for people who are frustrated, and I know people like Tectone, people like Mtash, like a lot of these content creators are incredibly frustrated at the state of Genshin and its current development. I just have to say, it's very unfortunate that they have to rely on this game to make permanent and daily content. It's unfortunate. It's such a curse, because if you rely on Genshin purely to make daily content, you're gonna definitely like run into a brick wall. And what's worse is you're gonna repeatedly run yourself into this brick wall until your head is like bleeding. Until you pass out from blood loss. You wake up and then you see the wall again. You still see your blood stains from like the multiple times that you ran into this wall, and then you get up and the first thing you do is you run into it again, because every time you run into the wall, for these people, you get a fat paycheck. You get a fat paycheck. So for the sake of your career, you get up, you run your head right into that brick wall again, and you rinse and repeat until either A, you run through that brick wall, or B, you find another brick wall, or maybe you find another wall somewhere that's thinner, that's maybe less bricky. Right? You guys, taking the viruses, that's why being a content creator is not a great career. It's definitely not. Like, I don't suggest anybody to solely rely on content creation as their means of sustaining themselves. You're gonna come to hate what you do. Toga Kills says, MTAS was wrong about Kazuha Yalan Raiden. He doesn't deserve to have opinions on Genshin. I mean, that's the thing, right? Opinions are not deserved. Opinions are given. As long as you're living, breathing human beings, you can give your opinion about anything and everything. Doesn't mean you're right. Doesn't mean you're right. But you can say whatever you want. I say whatever I want. But that doesn't mean I'm right. I can be wrong a lot of the times, and I am wrong a lot of the times. But, for every 10 statements I make, as long as I get 6 of them right, the other 4 can be as wrong as Chichi Battery. Yeah, exactly. For every 10 statements, 6 can be right, 4 can be just absurdly wrong. And it's fine. It's fine because, you know, well, okay, the thing with Chichi Battery is, like, I'm sure you guys know this. I didn't mean to say Chichi Battery. I meant to say Diona Battery. But it is what it is. It's happened. It's in the past. And to be honest, when I first found out how big the Chichi Battery blew up in the theory crafter, like just in the community in general as a meme, I actually felt a sense of joy because seeing people actually laugh. Like, if you guys see how people laughed, like they were laughing from the belly. You guys know, as a stand-up comedian, if you like go tell a joke, have you guys had a feeling where you tell a funny joke and everybody's like bawling? Like, to the point where people like start falling on the ground laughing and they like uncontrollably like just tearing up, all from a joke. And the joke could have been something stupid. It could have been like using yourself as a material, telling an embarrassing story about yourself, sharing like some details, or kind of spinning a very twisted joke that in a different context could seem offensive, but in the moment, you know, it worked as a joke, and people started laughing, right? It's a great feeling. It feels like, okay, I did something. In exchange, these people are having the time of their life. Even if I'm the butt of the joke, that's okay, because I know, like, a lot of the times, like, if I were to meet the people who laughed at me or laughed at the Chichi Battery meme, like, if I were to just meet them human to human, individual to individual, they will harbor no ill will towards me, right? And that's all I need to know. I don't think what's his name, the theory crafter guy, the guy who first reacted to it, and then a lot of people react to him reacting to me, that guy, I don't think he hates me. I just think he probably thinks that I don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm not well informed when it comes to Genshin Impact. And I think for him, he's a reasonable enough person to know that if we were just two human beings meeting each other, like people, just two dudes running into each other, there's no need to be hostile simply because of our oppositions and our standpoints when it comes to a video game. Right? As long as I know that, let people have fun. Let people meme on me, enjoy the meme. Why get so butthurt? Did I say something wrong? Yeah, Chi-Chi is not a battery. I said that wrong. Why should I have to, like, you know, why should I be defensive about it? I said something blatantly wrong. I even edited it. I didn't catch my mistake. I uploaded it, and people saw it. They had a good time with it, and I think I should have a good time with them at this point. Right? That's all I'm saying. Zajeff, yeah. Is that the guy? He does like math and theory crafting with Ziox. I remember people were saying that his laugh is so funny. Yeah, like, because I think when people are truly laughing, when people are truly in the zone enjoying themselves, that energy is contagious. What's amazing about a lot of the top content creators is that when they're truly in the zone, they're playing the game, they're enjoying the game, and they're like truly immersed in the game, they take their audience with them, right? It's an experience in of itself when you are watching somebody have a good time. That's why that clip was fun to watch. Like, even I was smiling at it. I was like, God damn, like, this guy really is having a good time. And I felt accomplished in a way because I provided that moment. Without me screwing up, that moment would never exist, right? That moment, that specific moment of him bawling himself, like just laughing his head off, that moment wouldn't exist. So I feel accomplished that at least through my mistake, I contributed to a moment. At least people were laughing. Right? Yo, bro, completely off topic, but what's your honest thoughts on Cookie? I think Cookie was designed for Dendro. So we'll have to see how she performs with Dendro. I don't think, like, I think Cookie right now, if Dendro doesn't exist, she's crap. she's like she's barely usable. Like a very niche unit that's barely usable. But with Dendro, there's a potential for her to be much better. Yeah, she's kind of like Toma tier. Maybe a little bit better because she heals. And she's Electro. So she has a little more usage in certain scenarios. But like I think she's above Toma, but she probably still falls in D tier. Alongside Toma. Maybe C tier with Toma. Maybe Toma is C tier. Who else is C tier? No, I think Toma is D tier with Amber. I think Toma might be below Amber. I don't know. Geo with Dendro, please reaction when? I don't think it's ever happening. Geo, Anemo, and maybe even Cryo will never see reactions. I don't know why. Why did they do that? Amber at least still has some use with Elegy in Hu Tao teams. Yeah, that's true. Toma is the new Amber Sag. Yeah, Toma truly is struggling. And I don't think Toma, like, do you guys think Toma will have usefulness coming into Sumeru? I don't think so. They could have at least done Petrification for Geo, but the thing is, if they do Petrification for Geo, then Zhongli's burst suddenly becomes a little less valuable. It's not going to make Zhongli bad, it's just going to make his burst a little less valuable. Which is fine, which is, like, that means you'll need two characters to mimic what one character can do. Like, it's still not great. Yeah, that Petrification isn't great. But it's still something. Zaru says, I mean, I use him with Yoimiya and it's pretty cool. It is cool. But, you know, it's quite easy to replace him. I think Tighnari is overall. I think Tighnari overall is gonna be. It's gonna be better than the Kaching banner. I'll say it like this: it's gonna be better than the Kaching banner, but it's not gonna be much better. I do think there's a lot of people who are gonna pull him because it's been so long since we had any meaningful content, and people just want to experience Dendro reactions like to the fullest from the get go. So. Even if people know that Tighnari is going to be on the standard banner, they're still going to come in and be like, hey, you know what? Let's pull for Tighnari, right? Because I'm so freaking bored. I got nothing else to do. Dendro just came out, and I don't want to feel left out. After playing Tower of Fantasy, I really got to take a peer into the whale mentality. Like, there are people... Okay, you guys know Tower of Fantasy, right? I'm in a guild called... I'm in the guild called Genesis. And in this guild, we have some of the biggest whales on the server. Biggest whales on the server. Listen, there's a guy in the guild that that already has every single character pretty much maxed out. There's a guy in Tower of Fantasy in this guild who has almost like pretty much every single character C6 already, with like their artifacts all cracked out. And on top of that, he still has 500 more summons just sitting there for no reason. Just sitting there. The dude is literally chilling on like, how much money is that? On like $1,000 something. Like $1,000+ just sitting in his account as summon currency. And he already has everything. He already spent thousands getting everything. Like, listen, people, you guys, like, we think we understand how a Leviathan or a Giga Whale thinks, but we really don't. Like, these people have no limits. Their pockets are so deep, like, you might as well just call them the Mariana's Trench. That's how deep their pockets are. They don't give a like, they don't care about a couple $1,000. To them, it's like, that's ass wiping money. That's what money is for, flexing. Yo, Elaine, spoken like a true Leviathan. So just based off of that, I think there's going to be a ton of people who just rush in to get Tighnari because he's the first Dendro character. That's it. That's all. That's all the reason you need. Well, it actually means something in Tower Fantasy then in Genshin. Well, yeah, if you're speaking about the rankings and the, you know, the leaderboards and stuff, I guess there is definitely more incentive. But when it comes to Genshin Impact, these people also played Genshin Impact. A lot of these whales wailed just as hard in Genshin, even though there are no leaderboards. Like you gotta understand, a lot of the Tower Fantasy, I would say a good 30% of the Tower Fantasy player base came from Genshin, or they're playing both at the same time. Like they're, you know, it's just part of their gaming process at this point. Only 30%, I think. Yeah, maybe 30, maybe a little more than that. But from what I've seen, the majority, there's a good chunk of them. Good chunk of them. Where did you get that number? It's basically from like the people I've talked to, like in the guild. But then again, there might be like people outside of the guild. Like our guild is very try hard, obviously, because they're ranked #1 on the server, so they have to be try hard. But out of these try hard people, around like 30, maybe 40% of them are from Genshin. Or they're not from Genshin, but they played Genshin. A lot of them have quit. Like there's another whale who spent probably like $5,000 at this point, and he used to play Genshin. He used to play Genshin, but he stopped after like patch 1 point something. I don't think he even played Inazuma, but he dropped $5,000 just before Inazuma even came out. Tower Fantasy makes me glad Genshin doesn't have PvP. Yeah, like even if everything is equalized in PvP, there's just gonna be like an entire span fest of and like just problems. There are problems that most players wouldn't ever want to deal with. Do you think HoYoverse cares about those players? I don't think HoYoverse cares about any of its players. Let's be honest here. Like, come on, stop the cap. HoYoverse caring about its players? No. HoYoverse cares about delivering a good product. That's all they care about. And you might argue like, oh, but their product sucks. But honestly, that's just one person's opinion. From all the people that I've asked who are still actively playing Genshin, they've all collectively thought that Genshin is a good product. Especially after playing Tower Fantasy, they come to appreciate Genshin more, actually. Isn't that weird? A lot of them did go to play Tower Fantasy because there's nothing to do with Genshin, but after playing Tower Fantasy, they can admit that Genshin is a good product. Diaz R says, hey Rose, can you discuss if you think now that Dendro is arriving, they'll be introducing a roguelike dungeon? No. I don't think HoYoverse is gonna deviate from their game plan. HoYoverse's game plan is rinse and repeat. Don't change what works. Like HoYoverse takes this like to the bank, right? If it works, don't change it. Like this is literally like this has to be plastered somewhere on HoYoverse's like merch at one point. It's like if it works, don't change it. They are literally taking this all the way, probably to death. Like, as long as Genshin remains popular, profitable, and the fan base stays strong, I don't think anything is going to change. Because why? Why change it? Like, what's the reason for changing it? To satisfy your player base? But your player base is satisfied. What do you mean to satisfy your player base? Your player base is satisfied. They love it. They love what's going on here. And I said this so many times. Why compete in avenues that's not your strength? What's Genshin's strength, people? I'm asking you guys. What is Genshin's strength? Ask yourself. Genshin's strength. Quality characters, right? Immersive world building. Top tier animation. Graphics. Music. Right? A complex enough combat system that makes you feel like you're having enough fun while in combat. Right? These are all Genshin's strength. What is Genshin's cons? Or that doesn't exist. PvP. Player versus player battling. Open world multiplayer experiences. Right? Guild systems. All this stuff. Why should Genshin go Battle, now Tower of Fantasy, that has all those things? Why would Genshin ever develop those features when they will be obviously lacking in comparison to other game titles? When they can simply release new games to go toe to toe against those games, right? Why does it have to be Genshin? Why can't Zenless Zone Zero have PvP and like roguelike dungeons, right? Think about it like this. Each project should accentuate and highlight a gaming experience or type. Genshin is more of a Breath of the Wild solo experience with like the option of co-ops if you so choose, with high quality animation, character, lore, storytelling. I'm talking about in the sense of a mobile gacha game. All right, I'm not saying like, my God, Genshin story is like better than Game of Thrones the first 3 seasons. No. But when it comes to a mobile gacha game story, Genshin is top tier, definitely top tier. Right? But why should Genshin now go expand itself so thin to the point where they will only bleed players by adding these new features? Right now, it works. The game works. Just keep doing what works. And this is speaking from a business perspective. Like, people hate change. Do you guys watch anime? Let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys watch anime? Most of you guys do, right? You guys watch anime. And you guys probably even memorize what day your favorite anime gets released on every week, right? Whatever it is. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now imagine next week they suddenly say like, hey, you know that Wednesday anime you wait, like you get off work every week, you get your favorite food on the way home, you freaking get home, you slap, you throw your clothes everywhere, you sit down, you open your food and it's steaming hot and you're like so excited to watch anime. Hey, guess what? Yeah, we're moving that show to Friday. How are you gonna react? You're gonna mull. Like, you don't even need to answer. You're gonna feel pissed. You're gonna hate it. It's gonna be terrible, right? Why? Because we hate change. We have a routine. We have a routine built into everything. Our entire week schedule, like, believe it or not, even if you don't write it down, you have a schedule. Everybody has a schedule. It's the same for Genshin and gameplay. People don't like change. Things are already working. I do my dailies, I do this, I do that. If you suddenly freaking throw me a curveball, be like, okay, now every day you gotta go do this. Like, you're gonna be like, what the fuck? Like, okay. And then they throw in another curveball. Oh, then you gotta go do this. Then you gotta go do this. You're gonna start feeling pissed. Like, a lot of people would disagree with me. A lot of people are like, no. I would love it, Walrus. I would love to do all this extra stuff. Yeah, you would love it for a week, maybe 2 weeks. Give you a month, 2 months, half a year. You're gonna be like, God damn it. I just want to do my commissions and get out. I just want to do my commissions and get out. Why do you gotta go do all this stuff? Right? Like, why I say this is because I've played many gacha games where the daily stuff is just way too much. It's way too overly complicated. Because in the beginning you think you love it, and you did love it when you were head over heels for the game. But after 6 months, a year, 2 years of doing that over and over every single day, you have come to hate it. And that's why a lot of games have like one click to finish buttons. Have you guys noticed that? You have one button or you skip combat in those like mobile games. Dude, trust me, I play a ton of mobile games. Like, so many of them just have, oh, you have this currency where you go in to run a dungeon and you just skip the combat. Just give me the rewards. I'm done. Auto domains. Yeah, just go in. Auto it. I don't even want to play it. Just auto it. Skip it. ×5 speed. Why isn't it all ×5? And they lock ×5 speed behind like a monthly subscription. Oh, if you get a monthly subscription, you get to play the game at 5 times speed. What the fuck? Like, I'm literally playing. I'm literally paying to burn through the game faster. How does that even make sense? Because it's a fucking chore. Because you don't want to play. You don't want to play the same content every day for for the rest of the time you're playing the game. Like it's like, do you see Genshin having that feature? No. Why? Because the game was developed from the start to not include any of those bullshit grinds that are meaningless. Those grinds are just so to keep you in the game, so you stay logged in for longer. To do what? To collect meaningless bullshit like currencies that are made up by the game devs to overly complicate the systems. So you oh, I gotta collect this one and then this one and then this one, and I gotta use them in all these shops. Genshin simplified and streamlined all of that. I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not saying that you should fully support what HoYoverse is doing here, but what I'm saying is they have found a proving and working model for the casual gamers. Does that make sense? HoYoverse has found a working model for casual gamers, so they're gonna monetize. Like, can you believe it? HoYoverse somehow found a way to monetize casual gamers. If that's not a fucking achievement of the century, I don't know what is. Do you guys know how hard it is to get casual gamers to be dedicated for a game for over like fucking 3 months? Do you guys know how difficult that is? Like, I don't think you guys really understand the scope of HoYoverse's achievement here. Casual gamers literally will bounce between like Candy Crush, Flappy Birds, and these like random ass games every couple months. They don't stick to one game. It's incredibly difficult to get people who are very nonchalant about games to just fucking stick to one game for fucking 2 years. There are casual gamers that are playing Genshin since 1.0 and they're still playing today. I don't know how the frick HoYoverse managed to do that, but it has to do something with their in-game like system and design, and not overcomplicating everything, streamlining their designs, keeping the game simple, right? So to answer the question is, why would they change that when it's proven to work so well? In fact, I would argue they are going to take Genshin's model for success and move it into Zenless Zone Zero and Honkai Star Rail. They're going to try to probably target a little more casual player base and try to emulate Genshin's success as opposed to going to the traditional route. And I don't want this to happen, but I think this is going to happen. It's that other game devs are going to see Genshin's success in targeting the casual gamers, and they will likely make games in the future that are more lean towards casual players. Does that make sense? I think it's a shift, because for the majority of gamers, we are all growing old, right? The people who used to play Pokemon when they were like in grade 3 and 4 are now like working adults in their late 20s. And give it another 10 years, these people who used to be the hardcore gamers of the 80s and 90s, they're going to be in their 30s and 40s. Like, do you still really have enough energy in your 30s and 40s to sit down and play like 5 hours of games just staring at a computer screen? Like, let's not even talk about the energy. Do you even have the fucking time in your day to do that anymore? There's a good chance you're going to have a family. There's a good chance you're going to have, more responsibilities, obligations. I think it's smart for devs like Genshin to pioneer and lead the way in designing games where, a dad who's like a father of 3 can probably sit down while he's on the toilet taking a shit and smash out a couple commissions and feel like, okay, at least I'm keeping up to the bare minimum, and that's enough. Right? I think I know I'm using very extreme examples, but I do think that we're going towards a direction in life that things are moving so fast. Games are coming out, apps. There are so many different apps that are distracting us, keeping us entertained. Like, a lot of people can scroll through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok for like 40 minutes to an hour every day, and Genshin only asks for 30 minutes, right? And I think a lot of people can respect that. A lot of people, a lot of the Genshin community, the people who've been playing silently without being on Reddit, without being on YouTube, without being in Discord communities, just the casual people who's been logging in daily, doing their thing, has been supporting the game with welcome moons, maybe even BPs here and there, maybe buying a skin for their favorite characters. They've been supporting the game silently in the background, not complaining, so Hoyoverse can continue pushing out content like what they've done in the past. I I honestly think that we're heading towards a direction where more and more people from the community of Genshin understands this, but it just needs to continuously be iterated so that we don't ever end up in a situation where the community turns on itself, because I'm taking the heat of the I'm taking the heat of this conversation right now, because it's much easier to scrutinize what I say because I'm publicly saying this stuff, right? Like, you guys can type whatever the hell you want in chat, give your opinion, but no community is going to come after you. No one's going to clip this one guy's like comment from this other guy's stream and then put them on blast, but they will for me. Right? I'm sure if Tectone heard what I just said, he's going to disagree. If MTash heard what I said, he's going to disagree. They're like, bullshit. Everybody, like, of course we want games that we can play for every day and stream and have huge communities that can make me tens of thousands of dollars every single day. Of course they're going to say that. But I'm just telling you guys, right, that I don't believe that Genshin Impact was ever a game that's designed to be fully immersive, nor will it ever be a game that will be fully immersive. The title is designed to be your side game. It'll stay that way forever. And I'm okay with that. And you should be okay with that. This is a YouTube video material. No. I'm not gonna put this on YouTube, because if I put this on YouTube, people are just gonna call me either like a Hoyoverse White Knight or a Doom poster, right? Because listen, every time I make a video like this, it's not that I don't want to. It's not like I'm repeating myself. I've said all of this stuff in the past. I will just be repeating myself. Like, they know what my stance on this issue is. You are a Doom poster. I am a Doom poster, but I'm also a White Knight. I'm a Hoyoverse hater, but I'm also a Hoyoverse bootlicker. I am everything, everywhere, all at once. I'm a Doom licker. I think that's what we came up with, right? Like, I'm a Doom licker. That's what I am. Yeah, I take all sides. I take all sides all the time. Who doesn't love knights? That's true. Wuthering Waves isn't going to phase Hoyo at all. I will be playing regardless. Like, all these titles that are just like yes, in a sense, they're riding off the success of Genshin. Yes, 100% they are. But at the same time, I think if they are smart developers, they will try to carve out a space for themselves. Why fight Genshin? Why fight Genshin on its turfs, right? I think definitely for these new titles, they should find avenues where Genshin is not doing. And I think Genshin is fair in that sense. Genshin has left all this stuff open. Like, look at Tower of Fantasy. They have everything that Genshin doesn't have. They've developed all these features that Genshin didn't even bother to include into their game. That's smart. That's really smart. Careful now, every game genre has that second guy that takes it all. I do agree. Like, if Genshin isn't careful, then they might lose a lot of players eventually to these other titles. But like, it's evident with all these games that have come out, like Elden Rings, like they can't keep the player base. You know why? Like, honestly, chat, do you know why uh a game like Elden Rings has lost, like, I think what, like 80 to 90% of their player base already? And the game's only been out for how long? Genshin's been out for 2 years, and Genshin probably only lost like 70% of their player base. Maybe less than that. But like, you guys know why? It's because, like, I'll let you guys know, it's because Elden Rings does not limit the amount of time or content that you can progress through, burn through, whatever you want to call it, because they don't have a resin system. They don't gate content. They just let you go in. They let you do it all. Like, they basically are the game that people have been asking for. They're like the opposite of Genshin. They're the opposite of Genshin, and for that reason, they will perish into obscurity much faster than Genshin, because games like Genshin are like meticulously designed to draw you out for the long run. Games like Elden Rings, like, yeah, people will love it. They'll shower it with praise and everything. They're like, oh, this is such a good game. But will they still be playing it? Will they still give the game more money 4 months later? No. Because you can beat the game. There's an end to the game. You can beat the final boss. You can play through it multiple times with different like loadouts and difficulties. But what else is there? Like, there's no more. There's no more content when it comes to that. It's a good game. Yeah, of course it's a good game. It's a good single player experience or multiplayer experience. Right? It has challenges. Right? It has great combat nuance to it. There's a like a complex leveling system with like skills and trees. But once you beat the game, or once you finally clear the difficulty, there's very little replayability. Right? If it had DLC, I would. Yeah, I think a lot of people would buy a DLC, but how long does that take to develop? Right? Sure, I mean, there's a chance that Elden Rings is already developing a DLC. There's a good chance of that. And I'm sure people will come back to support it, but in the meantime, they're going to go do something else. Right? Like, people keep saying, oh, like, we love these games, but during its downtime, when you've already beat it, what are you going to do? Are you going to still throw money at the developers? No. You'll go do something else. You already paid for the game. Right? So then we come back to reality, which is like, okay, a game like Genshin that is much more predatory when it comes to their monetization models, as well as less willing to listen to the player base. Look at Elden Rings. Elden Rings like took a lot of what worked in previous titles and they developed it further. They listened to their community. They pretty much did most of what the community wanted, and they made the game into a better version of their previous titles. And like, compared to gacha games, it's quite sad how much money they make. Like, it's just not the same. You're comparing apples to oranges. I'm comparing games, man. It's just games. They're just games. Games just are meant to entertain you. Like, I don't think, like, honestly, I don't think there's much difference to any game. Like, you can say like different genres have different player base, which expects different things, but a ton of people who play Genshin played Elden Rings. There's a good chunk of them. There's a lot of people who came to Genshin because there were no games like Elden Rings. And guess what happens when they quit Elden Rings? Some of them came back to Genshin because it's just something to do, and there's like, it's not that much commitment. Like, what? Like if you really enjoy, like if you really want a character that's coming out potentially in 2-3 months, like, you can spare 30 minutes a day to grind out some commissions to prepare for it. Maybe spend $5 on a Welcome Moon. Like, I'm not saying they're the same game, but I'm just saying, what people keep saying they want like they keep giving inputs to games like Genshin to be more like games that are like Elden Rings, right? Oh, remove the resin system, let us grind infinitely, put more permanent content, add replayability. Then what? Then you end up with a game that's much closer to Elden Rings than it is to Genshin, right? You have all those things in Elden Rings. What we're like, how good is the game doing now? Right? Are the player base so loyal to the like, oh, you did everything we've ever wanted, so we're gonna like continue playing the game and supporting you No, they won't. They'll quit. They'll move on. And I think game devs know that. Don't think game devs don't know that. They know exactly what will happen if they increase resin refresh rate, or remove or increase the resin cap, or remove resin altogether and let you farm endlessly. You're gonna quit the game like within 2 patches. You're done. You'll never come back. Ollie says, I love Genshin, but morally gacha is a messed up business model. Yes, it's an absolutely despicable, disgusting filth of a business model. But it works. It works from a business perspective. It makes money. Right? It makes money for the company. Zendao says the resin rate increase would be a plus though. Yeah, but that just accelerates how fast people will burn out, because it forces you to come online faster for people who care about resin cap and like not wanting the resin to. And also it means over time you're gonna get your artifacts sooner. It also like means that you're gonna build your characters faster, and it puts too much pressure on the real casual players to come on the game more often, right? Trust me, every single number in the game has been meticulously scrutinized by the development team to understand, okay, how long do we want players to commit to the game? How many times do we want them to log in, right? What intervals do we want players to engage with partaking in activities within the game? This has been scrutinized, and I'm willing to bet money that they've worked with analysts, like data analysts, with like different titles to say which one worked the best. In which scenario the players' retention was like the most optimal. And Genshin set a number based off of that. You guys may not know it, you guys may not agree with it, but statistically speaking, there's a higher chance that you will continue playing their game, logging in, if they set a certain threshold. And this is the current threshold. Whatever we have right now is probably an ideal threshold that Hoyoverse is content with. Like, you can disagree with me, but this is just how this works. You guys think the dev team just randomly threw darts on a fucking board and being like, what should the resin cap be and how long should it refresh? Let's throw a dart. Woo! Oh, what is that? One 180, 120, like what is that? Look at this. What is 160. Oh, okay. Bam, threw it. Oh, 160. All right. What should the resin refresh be? You guys think they just throw darts on a wall? No, this is incredibly meticulously calculated for them, so they can basically control how often you come online. Yeah, Zara's like, it's probably a little more experimental, but yes, parameters have been set to optimize for player retention. Absolutely. And in combination with like the daily commissions and the predatory gacha systems, it's a shitty business model, but they've executed it so, like, they've packaged it so damn nicely, my friends. Can we all agree on that? Like, look at the detail on this character. Look at when he talks. Look at when he moves. You guys can't tell me if this is a bait. This is like done masterfully. Like, I am willingly getting scammed over here. So are you. Because it's so beautiful. Like, at this point, do I even care that I'm dropping like $100 every month for this game? I don't care. I just want to see Zhongli kick his damn spear. Like, I don't care I'm getting scammed. Most people don't, because we're having such a good time. Look, oh my god, look at this. Oh, look at that figure. Look at that dash. Look at those legs. Like, people don't care. Once the product reaches this, like you can't get this anywhere else, man. You can't. You really can't. It doesn't exist anywhere else in this world. No other product like this exists right now. You have no other alternatives. What are you gonna do? Go play another game? That's funny. That's funny. You're gonna go play another game? Oh, like a game of this quality and polish at this level, like this music. Let me play you guys something. You guys are gonna go play another game that has this music? Look at that. Listen, I'm not saying Genshin is perfect, but Genshin offers a lot of things that currently the rest of the industry have just yet to perfect or to keep up, right? Does Genshin have the best combat ever? No. Does Genshin have the best graphics ever in video game history? No. But Genshin has taken a niche, an anime RPG niche, paired gacha with it, and executed it to such a high level. In combination, like, does Genshin have the best music ever in any video games? That might be debatable. Honestly, that avenue might be debatable. But they've done so many things so well that for the near and foreseeable future, it's going to be difficult for any company to stand up to them. But their dynasty will not last forever. I guarantee you. Genshin's dynasty will not last forever. There will come a day where they will be dethroned. But by then, do they even care to be the number one anymore? If you've been number one for like 5-10 years in a row, would you still care for that position? Like maybe Genshin would move into other endeavors. Maybe HoYoverse would move into other endeavors. You don't know. I hear Dawei has invested in a freaking rocket ship. What's up with that? You know? I'm just saying, you don't know what they're planning for. Like, and Genshin might just be step one to their 10-step plan. I think Dawei said, was it Dawei or HoYoverse or MiHoYo came out with a statement saying they want to like work on full dive technology, like VR, like the true VR experience. They want to work on that. Like, okay, that's gonna cost a lot of money. A lot of money. So, like, we scrutinize them on one project. We scrutinize them on step one, but we never even seen their step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Does the end justify the mean? Like, if VR technology, if HoYoverse does eventually release VR technology and you're like sitting in your room staring at Yelan and you can actually, interact with her and talk to her and you're fully dived into the world of Genshin, albeit you're playing, it's still going to be a gacha experience. You got to gacha her first, but maybe that experience and that intimacy is going to justify the years of bad business practice. I don't know. Will it be justified? I guess we'll find out. Right? You need money for that. Like, you need money for development, for all of that. Like, a lot of the money right now are going into multiple HoYoverse projects. Maybe they're just using gaming to fund future projects and endeavors. Maybe Dawei saw Sword Art Online one day and he said to himself, damn, I have a dream. And he's just now executing that dream. And it might not be, we might not agree with the way he's doing it. We might, I think most people in chat right now can agree that gacha is very shitty. Nobody likes gacha. Nobody. We wish there were a better way to get these characters to be playable for all of us. I wish, don't you wish there was, every free-to-play, as long as you played the game enough, could get a character to C6? Every patch. C6 R5. Free-to-play friendly. Of course we wish that. But if Dawei gave us that, I think Genshin would have closed its servers, over a year ago. This can only exist because the game has the funding that it has. Because the giga whales, the spenders, the people who's willing to drop the welcome moons every single month, because they're willing to, the game has enough margin to not only continue its development, but also fund future projects that Hoyoverse wants to develop. Understand, people. This only exists because of Gacha's evil. Without Gacha's evil and monetization, there may not be enough margins in a company and like to share with its investors and all the people involved in making this happen for you guys. It might not be profitable enough for something like this to even exist. Right? So that's all I'm saying. It may be evil. It may be evil. But at least, at the end of the day, you get to stare at this beauty while listening to this. For free. Alright, people, that's gonna be the stream. Thank you for tuning in. Like, I think a lot of people probably would be still very salty right now, but I just hope people we can understand that society works in a way where, unfortunately, if you want good things, they always come at a price. And I think Genshin is a good thing. It's a good thing to have Genshin exist. Genshin has truly like pioneered and led the way in what's possible for a gacha game, right? So I'm not saying spend money, but I'm saying if you enjoy the game, continue enjoying the game, because I think a lot of good can come from the success of Genshin, and that good also means future competition for Genshin as well. All right, I'll be heading out here, but I will let the music play until the end so you guys can enjoy it in peace. All right, so until next time, urge you all to stay safe, peace. Enjoy the rest of the OST. All right, bye.